Bob, if it's okay with you. Bob, no, it's okay with you. Good evening, everyone. I'm gonna bring, tonight's CBA meeting, started. We're gonna start with the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We screwed that up.
I screwed that up. Thank you, everyone. The first one, the 6 o'clock hearing, has been continued to next month, and we actually can't start the 6:05 hearing until 6:05. For legal reasons, so, we have a few minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. I can give you a topic.
I actually have 6:04 according to the clock.
Oh, okay,
These clocks, they're all different,
okay.
so I'm going with what I had to.
This one says 3:01 PM.
Long wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we'll go with this.
We just hear what it sounds like.
Okay,
Yeah.
6:05, you're all set.
board?
I'm sorry,
It's stick on board?
yeah, he can see everything, we just can't see him. It's just a
Oh,
black screen.
Thank you, appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah, we will have to wait for him first.
2000 kids feel.
Okay, a public hearing will be heard by the Board of Appeals on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 at 6:05 PM in Town Hall, Room 210. 365 Boston Road, Billerica, Mass. On the petition of Mary Ann Wolf, who has appealed to the Board of Appeals for a variance pursuant to Section 7 dimensional regulations, 7.d yards and 7.l dimensional table of the zoning bylaw to divide the premises into 2 lots and a village residence zone. Said premises is located at 10 Bullrush Ave, Billerica, Mass. As shown on the assessors map. It's plate 15, parcel 235.3, and recorded in MNBR of deed book 07022, page 212. Hello. Yeah,
Tori, this is very unlocal. Basically, the bottom line, is we're both seriously disabled, we have mobility challenges. And are currently living in less than 1/3 of our house because that's all we can get to. We can't get to the basement, we can't get to the laundry room, we can't get back master suite on the 2nd floor. And go to the attic. He basically had to sleep in a hospital bed in the living room because it's the only place you can get to. Our chair doesn't have narrower, I can get into the bedrooms and use those. But what we want to do is split this lot. And that was the best split from survey can come up with. And build a slab on ground, totally accessible, everything on one level house. And then when we move into that, sell this house, to recoup some of the cost of building. We tried looking for other houses and trying to find a house that can be made accessible. It's like trying to find hens to keep it. Nobody builds 54 houses.
During the months we were looking, we found exactly one accessible house. It was in Lincoln. At the time, it cost $1 million, which was a lot at the time we were looking. We can't afford anything like that. But basically, there weren't any houses in a reasonable person's price range that were accessible or could be made so. None. It wasn't even a question of being outbid, there weren't any.
And we also talked, we've been trying for years, because our parents are always saying, well, that's how it's and in 10 years of research and talking to architects, their basic thing was it would cost you less to tear it down and build from scratch than it would be to modify this house to make it accessible. And even if we did make it accessible, it'd still be kind of food.
And if we tore it down, it's very difficult for us to find a place to live. We had a problem with our bathroom floor and had to live in a hotel for a number of days. And that was extremely difficult for us. The particular hotel, the bed was so high that he couldn't get into it. Fortunately, they had a couch, but that was so low that he was afraid he'd fall on the floor getting into it. And you know, it was just very difficult to find a place to live.
I put riser blocks under the boat to try to get it up a little high, and they threatened to throw us out.
Oh.
Because I modified the furniture by lifting it up 4 inches off the floor. In a way that is very much non-invasive. 2x4 is under the base. And the only reason they didn't come to a crisis on there was we had good contractor who was finishing up the job on the bathroom at that point, so it was like we were able to move out before they got totally nasty.
There's only one bathroom we can get to.
Only one bathroom.
There's another bathroom.
And we can't get to the bathroom, second bathroom on the second floor, we can't get to the half bathroom basement. So it's like, this, and one of the things in the bathroom, her, what she needs, I think bathroom we need her to use is interferes with what I need. Just because of the differences in our handicaps. And so we've had to kind of do a food solution on that. That is kind of sketchy and not totally safe, but it works sort of.
Well, I've only had to call 911 about problems in the bathroom twice. So, I guess it's not that kludgy. And that was just in the last few years.
Okay. Before I open up to the board, we usually go out to the audience and listen to what they have to say. So, is anyone on the left side here for this?
Yeah.
Anyone on the left side? Oh, okay. We'll start with you and then we'll go to the right and do a row by row. So if you come up, name and address for the record, please.
Jonathan Lina, 30 Colson Street. I just wanted to know what was going on with the property and what's, I don't really have anything to bring up. I guess there is the old riverbed is there between their property and my property. So I'm just concerned about the water drainage and all that sort of stuff. If it's more impervious soil, then, you know, will probably have to be properly mitigated and everything, so I just wanted to,
Have you seen a copy or have you seen that?
no,
One to take, you can just take my copy, and take a look at it.
yeah, I don't know, it's like what was on the. And come at it from that angle.
Yeah, I believe, yeah, like you said, mitigation, they can't allow more runoff when they build something new, so that would be part of the plan they would present. Absolutely, please.
So there is a new bylaw in town that the impervious surface that's created has to be mitigated in the waters, basically parked back into the ground, which infiltrated your conservation commission. You're probably familiar with kind of a chamber system that they bury on the property that can hold the water and allow it to perk the ground. The town has attempted to address the drainage concerns with regulations. Make everybody follow pretty stringently.
Would the Conservation Commission give us any guidance about the right thing to do in our situation, or point us to an expert that would allow us to do the right thing?
So, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, yes, please.
So if you are in the proximity of wetlands and that's determined, you'll have to go through the Conservation Commission for what's known as an order of conditions. If you are not, you will project will be reviewed by the Board of Health for drainage. And they can give you some recommendations on, you know, what they see locally with those discussions. But that would be part of the process of any new construction.
So it would either be conservation or health, depending on how close to the swamp we are.
Could be both. But it'll definitely be the Board of Health, and then depending on the proximity of any wetlands may involve conservation.
I have a question about that. Do they need?
When he's done, you can come up and so.
Yeah, that's all I've got for now or whatever. I just got the letter that said that this was happening and I just wanted to be informed, so I didn't have any specific information to bring in. I think we're on town tour.
Get on council.
So the new house will be on town tour as well.
That's the plan.
Okay, I don't know this. Just wanted to be in the loop.
Yep, thank you. Sure.
I'll look at what's good.
Ma'am? Just name and address for the record.
35 Franklin Street. We're right behind that. And we do have a problem with drainage. Is that our back door tends to during very heavy rainstorms, everything tends to puddle. And we're very concerned that having more area blocked off from that drainage that is natural, that it's gonna be coming into our house more. And that is our really big concern. Because and like you addressed that, but we've noticed that at times there is a major, a lot of times there's no problem, but then other times, especially during really heavy rainstorms. And there's just enough.
The ground could be getting saturated depending on the area.
We happen to be in the low area of people. Because our neighbors on both sides tend to go up and then they go up in the back behind us too. So that our back door is literally on ground. And that's where we get the water in our house.
Yeah.
Could be possible that it could be helped with two new buildings on it.
If you put more buildings there, that's less area for water to go into.
But
Right.
the new
So-
bylaw.
So the bylaw, you have to calculate all impervious areas, roofs, driveways, walkways.
Okay.
That's calculated to determine the total volume of water. Then there has to be a system on the property on site to take all that water back into the ground. So it's not running off the site to neighbors or. Okay. So, I mean, to be honest with you, if this was approved and they constructed a new home on this lot, gets into it, I don't see it affecting your property or improving the situation of the property.
Because we would
I
like.
don't see it making it worse, but I
We would
don't
like
see it.
some assurance that it's not gonna get any worse.
Yeah, I mean,
That's our,
the only
we
assurance
would
that
like,
I can give you is that you have to follow the bylaw in terms of, runoff and burning that water back into the ground, so it's essentially the same infiltration rate that's there now on the lot. But from what you're describing, is on your property, if he does nothing, it's not gonna change, and if he builds a house, I don't think it's going to change short of him volunteering to come over and address some additional problem that's really not associated with him. It's probably the natural contours of the ground, you're at the low area, depending on what you have for soil conditions. Certain times of year, the ground gets saturated and everybody is part of them, you can't walk out the backyard, it turns to mush for a couple
no,
of
we
weeks.
get the water in the house.
Yeah.
And we have done drainage ditches,
Yeah,
but they tend to fill in with sand. And block up and we have
Right.
it, yeah.
it sounds like if you're a low area, the only thing you can really is pump it.
Well, yeah, because that's the foundation right there.
Yeah.
And I would say that to the extent that it would help any, we're wanting to do it right. To more overkill and make it with all our neighbors better.
And you could work that out with the.
Yeah.
The neighbor, but.
They can't make it worse. They might make it
We want
They could make it worse.
Make it
Well-
all works.
Part of the planning though would be. As Mark said, it would have to take into account all the runoff and put it back into the ground. Which it sounds like now it just runs off, so. No one can guarantee it, but
Yeah, I'm Karen's husband, but I have
Yeah,
a different
name and address.
Robert Jeffers, 35 Franklin. I'm right at the top of the map. I share a long boundary with the wolves. We take a double hit, we take a double wham, and they put a building there. Because not only is the ground sealed, you have impermeable ground, but you have runoff from the building. So I get increased water that will head for my basement. The next hit we take is that the water that falls on my property now has nowhere to go. Because the land it used to perk into has been covered with a house. So I take a double hit there. So that's probably the quickest summary of the main problem, that I take 2 hits, I'll have increased flooding in my basement. And he's already in violation of the town bylaws, so I would ask that you not allow this building. It's violating the town guidelines, and his statement earlier was that he needed a new house. Yeah, my sympathies are with you, I'm sorry for what's happened to you, but, you know, it's sadness and misery is gonna come to me if they fix it with a variance. So, you know, one of us.
That's
has a
why-
problem. But if you need a new house,
I don't know if this helps you up here, but there's the map of.
yeah,
Yes,
if you need a new house, build a house in a compliant lot. I mean, it'll cost more. I think that's the key to the problem. You could save him money, or you could cause me flooding, but, I don't want that. I want to have no flooding, and he needs a new house. He's welcome to have a new house, but a compliant lot.
It doesn't sound
What-
like no
what's-
flooding is an option. You get flooding anyway.
Well, it'll be much worse.
What,
It could be.
the plan,
Yeah, based on the bylaw, if it's followed, it's designed so that it cannot get worse. I know you're
Yeah,
saying that.
but they have a lawsuit after they built, it caused flooding, that's a severe problem. If they would just build the house in a compliant lot, then there's no problem.
what bylaw do you think, are you saying that they're not compliant with now?
Now, could I have a letter, please?
The frontage, they're not complying with the frontage on the 2 lots.
Do you have
Yeah.
the wetland overlay? I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
where they're on compliance, okay, they're requesting, may I speak?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
requesting a variance pursuant to section 7, dimensional regulations, 7D yards, 7L, dimensional table. So their lot is not compliant. And not only that, it's gonna cause a water
The
problem.
new lot's not
The new
compliant.
lot's not.
You're, the way you said
I
it,
thought you
it
were-
sounded like you were saying they were not compliant currently.
Oh, they're compliant right
Yeah,
now.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
I
But
just
if
wanted
he
to,
divides his lot in 2, it fails the compliances that
Right.
people cited.
and they're asking for the variance. for-
Right, but that's gonna cause me a problem. As much as they have my sympathy, I have a problem too. Okay, I had a question on you wanted me to wait to ask.
Yep.
On the Conservation Commission, if he did find a way to mitigate the problem by draining into that swamp, does he need permission from the Conservation Commission to drain runoff into?
Again, the bylaw requires him that any impervious surface that creates on his new lot, if it's passed, has to be perked back into the ground on his property. So the bylaw
On his
specifically says, right, so they'd have to, typically they put in what's called infiltrators, which are these half-shell domes they would bury on the property, which would be open volume. And then all this catch basins and everything, got a downspouts will lead into that. So all the water that comes off the house, off the driveway, would go into these infiltrators underground. And then they should be designed to perk into the ground.
If they were lower than all his surrounding property and my property, that would go a ways toward mitigating the problem. I had another question too. I'll stay for a second.
Are you
Yes,
at 33?
Pardon?
Are you at 33? Is that your house?
30.
No, 35.
I'm the one directly
Yeah.
behind him.
So you're over here.
I'm pretty much the nearest neighbor to the problem. Luckily, he's proposing to offset it a little bit toward Elm Street, which will keep it a little ways away from me. But it'll still increase my flooding. We just don't know by how much. The other question was, to mitigate it, he could channel the water into the swamp referred to. Conservation land presumably. Does he need permission from the Conservation Committee to channel water into the swamp?
You bet.
I don't think that's actually right.
Right.
The swamp is on the opposite side of the road from.
But he can't,
The bylaw
All
in
water
place is
falls
to
on his
prevent
property,
something like
he's
that.
responsible for it. It needs to be
So
percolated
it's
into the
staying on
ground
his property.
on his
Yeah.
property.
That's got to be on our.
Yeah.
Got it.
So he can't dump it on the town property, he can't dump it on your property.
See, the problem with that is if you look at Colebrook Street, you look at Colebrook and Folsom, it obviously is a hill, it goes up. Climbs up behind the baseball field. If you look at it from Colebrook, the other angle, it also goes up from the road. So that causes more water to move toward my house. And because we're not especially low, it doesn't flood all that often, it does flood. It will be a problem if we get the double whammy of more runoff and less area for the runoff to go into. So I'm asking that you prevent this building and that he build his house on a compliant lot.
Are you saying that you're mitigating your flooding problem by dumping the water off your property?
No,
Okay, we're not,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, we're not gonna go back and forth. It's gotta be through me. So,
Yeah, just,
yes, sir.
just to point out that. If this is the property and have a new lot created over here, you wouldn't even be in a butter to the property.
Yeah,
There's no shared property line between the new house or the new lot.
well, that's a good thing, but
Yeah.
that general area, like he told me earlier, he has 2 sump pumps to clear his water.
Our basement is 4 feet down and we basically get about 3 weeks a year during the spring thaw. Or if we have one of these 5-day soakers. We'll get a few days where the sump pumps are running. Because water table comes up to our basement at 4 feet down. So our basement is, the floor of our basement is 4 feet underground.
Yeah, but that's probably a better argument than I presented, because what you're saying is that ground is saturated. You're not gonna be able to get rid of the extra with the additional runoff. It's gonna be there.
It's. Okay.
Yeah.
it's not our purview.
Anyone else? Hear it out? Oh. Just again, name and address for the record.
Dan O'Leary, 12 Full Rush. I'm opposed to the project. I feel very bad for their predicament. There's absolutely water issues. He had just taken down a bunch of trees in between my house and his. The water just sits there. Yeah, the log splitter that was broken down there. All the oil was coming down my driveway, right down to the wetland. So I have an issue with the water coming right down the road to my house. They obviously have ample space to do an addition. They've done a ramp to go in. They've done, apparently they've done a bathroom to make it accessible. So I don't see why there's not plenty of room to do an addition to make it work for what they need to do. Short of building a new house.
The floors on the existing don't line up. And so there's nowhere to put an elevator to get up with that. There's no place in the house.
Okay, we're just. Yes, we're not gonna have crosstalk, so, continue.
Okay, the other issue is, this, not to, I know they're in a situation where it's tough to clean up, there's shears and stuff left on the side of the road. For years at a time, I mean, there's been a bag dumpster in there for 2 or 3 years, I don't really like to look at that as I drive by my house. And I'd hope that if they were to do another house, it just wouldn't be 2 situations like that I'm driving by every time I drive by my house. That's it, I just wanted to.
Okay.
My concerns, thank you.
Thank you. Would you,
My name is Kim O'Leary, I live at 12 Fuller Ave. So that's the obvious concern. I went over and talked to them the other day to see what they were going to do. They had talked to a builder that was interested in their home. And then they were gonna build what they have, what they're looking at. I talked to them about the water, we get tons of water. That's all that drains down to our driveway. Nothing is up there. It doesn't, they don't upkeep anything. We're gonna be 15 feet off we're gonna go 15 feet off the fence. Like I said, it can be closer to us. What does this builder plan on doing with that house? Our roads a mess. They just cut down trees. They left, but they were stumped like this, like my husband just said. There was equipment left there, oil leaning down our driveway, ruining our property. We don't want our property devalued. there's a lot, we get water in our basement all the time. I mean, we at the lowest point, you can see where it sits right there, we have, that's all that comes down, the water, it's just, it's. There's a lot of water, I don't even know how they're gonna do it, I was surprised they could even bring this forward. I've lived down there for 40 years. And we're very opposed to that.
It should be noted that, according to the engineering division of the DPW, the road would have to be, brought up to standards.
I would 100%, we have already offered that. Septic road, my husband had bought the house there a few years back, and we were having hot paved, and he wouldn't do anything with it. So now if they want it, we don't want to have any cut, nothing's kept up down there, we're the only ones that can fuck up top property down there. And I feel bad for their situation, but I think they already did a handicap bathroom. They've done a ramp to their home, there's no reason they can't put an addition on it, why does it have to be another structure? There's options, there's a lot of options that they could. Instead of, I mean, where they want to put their home now, it sits in a huge puddle. Instead of bylaws. It just seems like it gets worse and worse, we get trees come down constantly, we just had 2 fall on our home last week. Those were the one, you know, they weren't the property, but they were probably from all the trees that you took down around us.
Okay.
And it, you know, they uprooted and came down on our home. So there it is, it's. We're concerned because it's values our property too, you know, if it's, and it's like I said, it's right on. We don't know what they're actually doing. And then my concern is that he's already talked to a builder, so what is the builder plan on doing with this stuff?
Well, I would assume redo it.
They're very cheap.
Real quick.
Basically, this was a very tentative informal conversation with the builder who prepared our bathroom, which was nothing more than revisit and taking out the shower unit and changing it into a roll-in shower. So basically, no structural modifications to the bathroom at all, the changes to the house. And this was a very informal conversation where he said that he would like to have a home for his family and would be interested in trying to work a deal, but we didn't have to go any further than that. We're still exploring several options for what we would do in terms of building. I've done a little bit of drawing on a CAD package, try to, visualize what I've been having in my head for a long time. But basically, we were having issues trying to, their parents were insisting that we try to make the Disney house accessible. And it took a long time to convince them that it was not a doable thing.
He's been disabled for 15 years.
Okay.
Who's parent?
My parents were willing to help us financially with some of this. And so we were also trying to talk them into it.
Is there anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I will open it up to the board. I'll start with Dick. You there, Dick?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know, you got quite a few neighbors that are opposed to this, and I kind of agree with them. I mean, there is a water situation up there. So I'll leave it at that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Anupam?
Yeah, I think I have the same feeling about, water moves, and water is going to move wherever we are, whether it is on the flat surface or a slope around, but definitely it should not make it worse than what it is as of now, And having this conversation, it kind of feels like, it's an issue that has to be mitigated, otherwise, it's a problem, So I would have difficulty, in moving further.
Okay, thank you, Anupam. Mike?
I don't know what your financial situation is, but there's also the option to, if feasible, you can build a new home on the property. I know the building department has approved them before where a new single-family home was built and just the final occupancy wasn't given till the previous home was raised. So, you know, you can build a new home right in the middle of that property and live in your current home while you're building a new home. And then just raise the existing house before you move into the new home. I don't know. Usually I don't get too crazy about the water, but because it's, you know, supposed to be taken care of with bylaws, but seems like you got quite a few neighbors opposed here because of it. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Bob,
My concern was that, whoever did your plan, they're only allowing 80 feet of frontage on the lot, and 150 on the other side. Is there a reason they didn't split it right in half?
Basically, where the existing house is, this was trying to draw a line to make both lots as close to the same size as possible. The actually originally was making that little back bend sharper, and getting a little bit more on the lot, but it would have taken a big chunk out of the area around the swimming pool. And so I haven't changed that, but that's basically what he's trying to, and I understand that you can't put two bends in the thing, but you can't really do, you know, a 50-50 split and wrap around the existing house. So that was what the surveyor said was the best option you were doing the split. Because they can't make those two crap little lots. And
They're pretty legit.
the frontage. You have such a long driveway going back to the existing house, and our desire is to take and put the new house as close to the front of the lot as possible. If part of this short driveways are not supposed to have profile. So that seemed to us be like a reasonable thing where we would be essentially staggering two houses.
The reason I said that is because usually when you go into a neighborhood and we're gonna do a split, we try to keep the lots visually the same, so shrinking it down to 80 is small. Small. That's my only concern.
okay, thank you, Bob. I gotta say, I'm torn on this one because I've been more against lot splits lately. But this one, to me, it's just on the split. It's, one of them is above the requirements, one is just below for size. And talking about your frontage, I've always been kind of going on, if we're gonna give a variance, it's gotta be just one size or the frontage. And I was just informed that the assessor has a good reputation. So it sounds like what what you were saying about the line, to me, makes sense. So I'm not as troubled about the 80 instead of 100. Because the lot itself is 31,000 and square feet, and the requirement's 30,000. So I do have concern when the neighbors come around and the water, but the bylaws state you can't have more runoff, and I would think, and this is just my personal opinion, if the board approves this, you build a new house, and then I'm gonna guess someone might come in and raise the existing house and build a new one. They would have the same bylaws of mitigation, and my feeling is that the water runoff might be improved. I mean, not as much water can be coming off the land.
And there's if when I'm mitigating, you know, just for the exit, what I put on the new one. If I can get more mitigation than that. Especially if it doesn't cost a lot more, and a lot of times I find it's, you know. But you've already got the stage couple on there, dig an extra 10 feet of hole isn't gonna cost you that much.
Yeah, I'm not nearly an expert on how it works, but. So I gotta say, I'm torn on this one because this fits almost all the criteria for me to split a lot. The only problem is neighbors and their concerns, so. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for me. I understand, and I appreciate that. If there's nothing else for the board.
Chairman, I'll make a
motion that we close
the
public hearing.
Second.
Second. Bob and Anupam. On the motion to close the hearing, Dick,
Yep,
Anupam,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes,
Bob? Yes. Chair is yes. Can I get a motion to grant?
So we moved.
second,
Anupam, Mike, on the vote to grant. Dick,
no,
Anupam,
No.
Mike,
doesn't matter now, no.
Bob?
No.
Just on principle, I'm gonna vote yes, but, it's, denied, 4-1.
One to 4.
1-4.
Is there? Is there something that we can do? Possible to. Yeah, reconsideration or something that more acceptable.
You can't,
It's already done.
you can't bring it forward to us for, I believe, 2 years,
Unless there's a major change,
unless there's a major.
has to go to planning board first.
Not that I'm suggesting this, but you can also sue the town for the decision. I don't know what you, the suit would be involved, but we've been sued before, so.
I'd rather not go there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, is there something that could do that would make this more acceptable? It's kind of on that.
I figured you'd have to make some major changes and, honestly, talk to your neighbors. And then if you can come without major opposition, the planning board needs to go forward. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. 27 votes. A public hearing will be heard by the Board of Appeals on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 at 6:10 p.m. in Town Hall, room 210, 365 Boston Road, Berwick, Mass. On the petition of Damasus DeFridas by Christopher Ross Architects LLC, who has appealed to the Board of Appeals for a variance pursuant to section 7 provincial regulations, 7.d yards to section 7.e, 7.e lot coverage of the zoning bylaw to reduce the side and rear setbacks to construct an attached 15 by 38 by and 6 inches tandem garage storage and mudroom area in a village residence zone. Said premises is located at 27 Wilson Street, Mass, as shown on the assessor's map as plate 15, out for 220-2 and recorded in MNDR deed book 29/6/29, page 77. Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Just name and address for the record.
My name is Chris Russ. My address is 580 Farm Road, Marlboro, Massachusetts. And I'm from Massachusetts, 47 Wilson Street.
Tell us what you want.
So what we're looking to do is, where the proposed addition is a tandem garage that is 15 feet wide by 38 foot 6 inches long, and have a interior mudroom that's 5 feet from the for you. We are asking to put a roof over it, but not enclose it. The setback at the rear will be 13 foot, 13.74 feet. And then our side yard setback will be 5 foot, 0.2 inches. And the zoning, it predates the original zoning, so in chatting with the building department, the side yard setback is 7 feet versus the 15 feet that's noted, but we're still exceeding it, but it's not by twice. The new garage structure peak will be 15 feet, 1 inch from grade. And we did go before the historic folks, and they gave us an favorable recommendation or certificate of appropriateness for scale and size for the territory. And they do have 2 letters from one. Oh, perfect, you have that. Are you? Yeah. Who's controlling that? That's me. Perfect, so this is a plan of what we're proposing to do as far as mudroom space and tandem garage space. The garage is intended for car storage, also has a motorcycle and seat off right. We'd like to be able to keep it here and be able to do some work on it and things like that. If you want to know what the heck, those are the elevations that are of the new garage, couple small windows at the south property line, just to add some natural light. Front is carriage house, garage doors, kind of similar to others that are in the neighborhood. We go to the next one. This is the rear of the property, where you can see from the back, the covered porch. And then the lower one is from 25 Wilson Street, which is shared with the condo. The next one. These are a couple quick views of the 3D views of what we're promoting to do.
Okay.
You have 2 letters in support. One is on the south side property line, the 2931 Wilson Street, and then also the rear property line at 24 Talbot Ave.
That's always helpful.
You want me to read them in the record, or is that?
No, yeah, let's have them. That's,
Your one that is on the side of the garage.
yep,
So
no,
there's a direct butter with the fence and the garage.
Yep. that's very important.
And I think that is enough, so we don't have to stay here all
Okay. Anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this? Oh, yep, sure, come on. Again, just name and address for the record.
Okay, Ted Phillips, according to Wilson Street, it's on our down across the street.
Great. Fantastic. Okay, I'll open up to the board. Dick?
Yo. Okay, keep
Okay.
going, keep going,
Great.
keep
Animal.
going, you'll be here till midnight.
For the record, I would like you to read the record in the neighbor's letter.
A letter of support from Sean Kelly, 29 to 31 Wilson Street. To the planning board, I, Sean Kelly of 29 to 31 Wilson Street, would like to express my support of current plans under review for the garage addition at 27 Wilson Street. Sincerely, Sean Kelly. To the planning board, I, Courtney Lynn Mark of 24 Talbot Avenue, would like to express my support of current plans under review for the garage addition at 27 Wilson Street.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. I would have no other comment.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mike? No, good. Bob?
Looks good to me.
I ditto everything everyone said. I think it's like, to me, one of the a perfect request. Excellent, plans. We got support from side and back, and that was, to me, I was really curious about the 2931 Wilson. So, and you got historic favorability, so this is perfect to me, so. Can I get a
Motion to close.
Second.
Thanks, Dick. Mike, on the motion to close, Dick,
Yeah,
Annabelle.
Yeah.
Mike,
Yep.
Bob,
Yeah.
chairs, yes. Can I get a,
I'm sorry,
oh, I'm sorry.
I do have one. Is it too late?
Yeah, we're,
Technically, I just, oh, no, we didn't vote. No, we
closed
did, we
it.
did vote on
We
it.
just voted closed.
We voted to close, yeah.
Yeah, I voted close, sorry.
All right, no problem.
On the motion to grant,
motion to grant,
Annapom,
Second.
Mike is second. On the motion to grant, Dick,
yep,
Annapom,
yes.
Mike,
Yep.
Bob,
Yes.
and chair is yes. Granted 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, a public hearing will be heard by the Board of Appeals on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 at 6:15 PM. In Town Hall, room 210, 365 Boston Road, Billerica, Mass. On petition of Usano Doval, whom has appealed to the Board of Appeals for a variance pursuant to section 7 dimensional regulations and 7.L dimensional table of the zoning bylaw to divide the premises into 2 lots in the village residence zone. Said premises is located 292 Andover Road, Billerica, Mass. As shown on the assessor's map as plate 35, parcel 6-2, and recorded in MNDR of deed book 37-869, page 3. Sir.
I'm about 292. We need to see if we can get this project done. Looking to build a house on Staples Street, and we shall be moving in once the house is done. We're gonna have people already and try and sell this and pay off that. We did the propose the house in the back because there's a 2%, 1% on 100-year, goes on just what the garage is. And then after that, 0.2%. The house is still on 0.2%. There's a frontage of 100 feet. And I was looking all the on this map here with all about it when I was researching. And when I look at all the land around it, even after the split, good percentage of the neighbors built in some of these smaller land than I'm proposing. After the split is.
Okay,
That's
it.
we're used to it, so.
Okay. Again, I'll go out if there's anyone here to, yes, sir.
And yeah, my address is next door. It's probably actually.
If we could repeat your address, please, I think.
294 Andover Road. But my thing is that we already have a lot of problems there now. I can. Do all those. I hate don't to anybody, but I don't need any more water on the property. It's already raised his backyard on the house. Now we're water. All wet as it is.
Were you here for the first hearing about the bylaws for mitigation? Okay, I know it's hard to, okay,
I'm just saying with these.
okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? He's not board. Okay, I'll open it up to the board. I know you're not gonna be able to see the pictures, Dick, but he gave us pictures of standing water in his backyard from last summer, I believe. Or
Okay.
March. Okay, some from this month. Okay, Dick, any questions?
What zone is this in?
Residential?
What?
Village residential.
I'm sorry, what's the first word you used?
Village.
Oh, village, so that's what, 30,000?
Yeah,
30,000 by 150?
for frontage,
Huh?
frontage is 150.
150. What do we got? I think I can't read the plan that I've got. It's so small, it, you know,
The new lot would be 100.
what's that again?
100,
Frontage of 100?
yeah,
And
On the
what's the
state.
area?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
12,000 and change.
And what about the existing or the other lot that's on Andover Road? You got one lot that faces Staple Street, right?
Yeah.
And another lot that faces Andover Road.
Andover Road would be 12,000 and change also, and 65 feet of frontage.
Okay,
Oh, the radius, sorry, I missed the radius, about 100.
about 100.
Yep, so they're about 100 and 100, and they're both 12,000 and change.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you. Anupam,
You know, I think we are having a lot of little water issues around, you know. And these lots have the water problem, but we have to somehow address it and other than that, I don't know what I can do.
okay, thank you. Mike,
I don't have anything.
Mark, could you put up the floodline? One, thank you. Bob,
Yeah, the concern again, this one was the last one was with the neighbors. And you want to keep out the neighbors, but meet the criteria. Size. 12,000 square feet. Sure.
what do you mean by the?
What, yeah, wait,
Yeah, what do you mean by
let's
the
look at
size?
meat size, 12,000.
Lot size, we try to avoid small lots, 5,000 square foot lots.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
For meat, I think.
No, I'm talking about the lot
Yeah.
size. It does come up over the 10,000. But, it's something. Judge,
Real quick,
I'd just like to see if you can, want to take a look at it and see the lots around, how big.
yeah, we can actually, that's what I was looking on this one, one of the lots. For me. And I just talked about this, it. The lot split problem for me is that it's. Technically, it's village residents, it's already under 30,000, but every single. Lot that I can see. As you pointed out, looks smaller. Already. So I don't think. It would be. Detrimental to the neighborhood. For a 12,000 square foot lot. I actually think it's a kind of an elegant. Split. That you can then go off on Staples Street. It's, do you know if Staples is an accepted road? If it's not, you run into, you know, W would have, you'd have to do. And I understand the worry about water, but I have to,
all that water's running off from the street, so it was supposed to go around that side of being like that, but you filled it down.
all the water from the street comes right into my
Okay,
And
okay.
say something, his house is much higher.
We closed the hearing, so we can't have more.
I have one question.
Yes, Mike.
What did you say you were doing with the existing home?
I'm actually moving to the new house and I'll be end up selling because we got kids to college. We got 3 kids, one going to college now and they'll be one right after the other.
So you're gonna move to the new home and then sell the existing
Yeah.
home?
When it comes to the water,
Situation.
I'm sorry.
Nothing. Oh, I'm speaking to myself.
I've got to, I fall back on the water mitigation bylaw. That whatever plan you come up with for the house has to meet
Yes.
town approval. And then if there is a problem, it has to be resolved. So. Okay, if there's nothing else from the board?
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay. Can I get a motion to close the hearing? Close the hearing. Yeah. Second? I'll give you a second. Bob? On the vote to close the public hearing, Dick?
Yeah,
Anupam?
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah.
Bob? Yes. Chair is yes. Can I get a motion to grant?
So remove.
Anupam, second?
Second.
Mike? Okay, on the vote for the motion to grant. Dick?
well, you're picking on me all the time, okay, no,
Anupam?
No.
Mike? This doesn't matter, no. Bob? No. I feel, well.
You gonna do it again?
Chair, yes, so,
1-4?
1-4 denied. Sorry.
Take the emotion out of it, Eric. Keep it moving.
Did you say yes on that last one?
Yeah.
Even though it was going for 2 variances? The area in for.
Right, yeah, you know, he can't make up his mind what he wants to do, you know? See, you're giving him ammunition. He doesn't miss a trick, you know?
Yeah, as Mike said, it didn't matter by the time it came to me. Okay, Riverbank Terrace. A public hearing will be heard by the Board of Appeals on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 at 6:20 PM in Town Hall, Room 210. 365 Boston Road, Billerica, Mass. The petition of Robert Murphy by John McKenna Esquire, who has appealed to the Board of Appeals for a variance pursuant to Section 7 dimensional regulations and sub 7.L dimensional table of the zoning bylaw to change lot lines to create 2 lots. One classified as non-buildable and the other to construct a single family home in a village residence zone. Said premises is located at Riverbank Terrace, Billerica, Mass. And shown on the assessment map at plate 106 parcels 94-0, 112-1-1, 113-1, and recorded in MNDR of these books 33665, page 164. Counselor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John McKenna, Dave Harkins Road, Billerica, Mass. For the applicant, Robert Murphy, Murphy's here this evening. This is a unique property. You want the map on, right? This is, we have 3 parcels, and 2 parcels are in the dotted line. They're on map 106, 94-0, 112-1-1, and 113-1 are up the top. We've taken 3 parcels and we're making 1 buildable lot. The existing proposed gravel way, it's been it's an access to a couple of properties out the back. It's a gravel way. We're gonna move the gravel way to straight access into properties in the back. Move it out, make it a little wider and more better access. We're gonna build 1 house, a 7,000 square foot parcel within the footprint there. It's gonna be a small house. In the parcel up top, we're gonna have the road on, or the gravel way is gonna be on that parcel. Rather than adding that just to put square footage on there, so the gravel way is not gonna burden the existing house. And that parcel there is towards the river. and towards that part of the road, that's gonna be undevelopable. You know, maybe donated to conservation or just held as undevelopable, but it's marked undevelopable. So we're gonna take 3 assessed parcels, correctly, access to the other roads. And, have 1 lot on, proposed lot B. So getting 3 assessed parcels and we'll make it 1 buildable lot. Spoke with the building inspector, with the then town manager, Clancy, Maine, and, with regards to a lot of work that's going on down this way. Mr. Murphy has proposed drainage and other, developments down here, and this is kind of, to finish off. Done a lot of work down here, a lot of homes down here. So we feel that we talked to the abutters, I don't know if there's any abutters here, we went around to all the abutters, we're in favor of these improvements. So the building also requires the height variance, depending on when they dig out there, if they get to put the house, that needs a height variance. I think we're working against that and new zoning. But just in case that doesn't pass, whatever Attorney agrees in a town meeting, you never know. We request the height variance for the house, at this time, just in case. We don't feel, the new owners won't be burdened by the easement is a big part of that, so could have had that parcel into, made it into an area for that house, but we don't want to burden the parcel into the, gravel way. We feel this is detrimental to the, intent of the bylaw of creating a, 1 buildable lot out of, the 3 assessed parcels and correcting the passageway there, the gravel way. So we're here to answer any questions, and obviously if any of us here have any concerns, we're here to hear that as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is anyone here to discuss this? No. Not, oh, I'm sorry. I looked right at you too. If you can come up and, name and address for the record.
My name is Daniel Connor, I live on 8 Burlington Road. Just a little out of the picture there.
Okay.
I'm not against this, but I've lived there for 40 years. And every spring, not every, but pretty much every spring, that property area there and the other lots have been perk tested. And every single year they fail. And I don't know where the perk testing is as far as this procedure for this goes, whether they've already done it and been approved, or whether they're hoping that it does get done. But all I can say is, if it hasn't been perk tested, it's gonna fail. It's failed every year, pretty much for 40 years. It's just too everywhere down there, as I've watched all the previous people coming up here. Water is a big problem. I have water in my basement, and everybody in my neighborhood has water in the basement. Now, building a house here is not going to make any difference on that whatsoever. I'm just wondering if they're putting the horse before the cart.
I'm not speaking for them, but I would say that they need this approved before they can even look at what kind of house and all that kind of stuff, so. But you can
So
speak to that.
it's been perk tested.
Oh, I can't.
Was it,
So Murphy, we perk test that lot, we're in and around that area,
Around that area, yes, correct, that we have then I think the problem they had before they were correct, but it was a title problem down, that's where it all. But it had better.
correct, so.
Like I said, I'm not against this at all. That whole corner,
I think there is, yeah, very.
the neighborhood is, that area is a trash dump. And any improvement whatsoever, the road and a house would be welcome, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah,
Okay,
because it's looked like that for 40 plus years. What was the other question? Were they, now, do they have to do an approved road? When they do this, it says, gravel way, it's just gonna stay a dirt road?
Yeah, it's gonna be the access over that. Maybe that's what you can see on the map, yeah. That map there, it's satellite map, so it's, you know, it's been a way that it's been on to do that.
Yeah.
We're gonna move it up to the right.
That's fine, that's fine.
And they are the mixing broken. You move on, right, but it's lovely, the access is over there. It's gonna be an improvement for that area.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the audience? No? Okay, I'm gonna pick on Dick again.
Oh, yes, it's been a while since I talked to myself, but from what I recall, it was probably a year back. That these 3 parcels constitute a grandfather's lot, that he could build on them by right. But because of this access road, he would need to block that, which would create havoc in the neighborhood. And in discussions with Mr. Murphy, you know, I think he came up with a solution of what's shown on this plan of creating a new way, abandoning this way that was just created over the years, so the neighbors can maintain access, but by doing so, he essentially loses the grandfather's rights, and that's why they're in front of you now to, even though it's grandfathered, this is the best proposal because it addresses the access to the neighborhood, and it still allows him to build a house with.
So win-win. Win-win-win.
That's your determination.
Like on the last proposal. The one that they have.
Well, like,
Move it.
wet up,
Yeah, you want-
would give them, put a house in there, put a house on that. They could, you look at the map, you know, we're gonna be- here.
Yeah, that's actually I'm gonna do much longer, it doesn't matter what type of house that he wants to build.
Yeah.
He only has to be 2
Okay.
feet above
I
water
think that-
table, so
I think we'll,
that's why he's building that.
Yes. We work with the community.
Yeah.
sounds good. Win-win. That's good. Okay, open up, Dick, do you have any questions, concerns?
Well, it's a village residence zone, right? Which requires 30,000 by 150-foot frontage.
Grandfather, did the grandfather father?
I don't care if it's grandfathered or not. It's
Well,
it's a village residence zone. All right, so it's okay if you're saying it's grandfathered. There, you're asking for one lot to be about 15,000 by 170 feet of frontage, and lot B about 7,000 with 103 feet of frontage. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that.
The only thing, the reason why we did that is we could put the way on that lot, but we didn't want the new owner to be burdened by the easement of that way. And the other part of that parcel was marking as undevelopable. So this is like the developable corner of it, so that they could add the area, make it as big as you want, but we just felt that the new owner of the house can be burdened by that easement that we can turn over to the town or whatever they want to do, and who knows what, make it better access or something else. You know, as far as the numbers go, if you're looking for a certain number over there, they could have made it bigger, but you know, we just trying to work with the town and then make it so this lot could either be transferred to the town or to the neighbors out back for access or something like that, Dick. So I understand what you're saying, and we expect we're trying to make it as big as possible, but as far as like moving this gravel way for access, that's why we made it 7,000 square feet, not 12,000 square feet, and make the other one smaller. It's just for that, put that in a good way that comes straight out through. You know, you can't go on Mixon Road and the access, you couldn't come down that way because you can see like there's a little brook or something that flows through there with a marsh. So the topography over there doesn't allow it to be moved over that way, so we're kind of giving up that 16,000 square feet, but to allow access to the homeowners in the back. Rather than having 23,000 square foot lot, we're making it at 7,000 square foot. And moving the road over, so that's why we're doing that, Dick, but I understand what you're saying, it's a small lot, but it would have been bigger if we included that easement on it, but we just didn't want to burn the new homeowner with that easement on their property, that's the reason for that.
Is it okay if I speak?
So, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is Mixon Brook Road right here. This is actually Mixon Brook Road. So if you followed it down here, there's like 3 houses that actually live on Mixon Brook Road. And this is actually all on my property. So if I were to build a house here, if essentially Mixon Brook Road wouldn't have any access out to Riverbank Terrace. So what they would have to do is come here, go down all these dirt roads all the way around, and back out to 3A. You can look, this house is right down here. So this road actually comes out and then it forks over here, so. I talked to one of the neighbors that originally, he's been down here for about 30 years, and they actually, this is the road. Yeah. So there's the road up the top. Yeah, can you just go back to the other one? So this is the road that they originally used, and it was used like 30 years ago. And over time, they just started cutting onto my property and using the road. So what I'm trying to do is make it so instead of plopping a house here, which is grandfathered, I'm trying to make access for these people that live down here. There's like, I believe there's 2 houses on this side and this house here.
Yeah.
So I went, knocked on all their doors and I explained to them what I was doing. And they were perfectly fine as long as they could get access straight out, which if you can look over here, it's almost like you can see where there was an apron for the road that came in. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do instead of trying to plop a house in the middle of it and make it so these neighbors are all screaming and all the rest of them would be screaming. I'm just trying to work with them.
Yeah,
So that was really the purpose.
could have been 23,000 square feet with that.
If that helps you.
If it helps you at all, this is Mark. The town has been working behind the scenes for probably about 1.5 years to come to this compromise. It could be 23,000 square feet with 130 feet of frontage. They're giving up to 170, which is a portion of that gravel way, and then the other area was that wet area. So that's the intent on that. You know, that area is going to be open. So like the house, even though it's on 7,000 square feet, it'll have like that access also, but it'll have that area over there, which is going to be open. So it's not like we cram a small little lot in there. It's actually, you'll have that area over there as well.
Okay, Dick?
Well, so at the end of the day, he still wants to build 2 houses there, right?
One house. One house. Yep,
One house where the proposed way is, and the house is within the footprint of.
And what are you gonna do with the, Murph, what are you gonna do with lot A?
That will either, well, however the town wants to take ownership of it, I could deed it to them, or I could just let it sit there and they could
It's a bit of
take it for conservation.
Yeah, we'd have to go to the town and propose, donate to the town, the conservation would make a recommendation. The select will make a recommendation, the town meeting would have to vote to approve it.
So that's why the second lot, which is here, that is, it's labeled as not buildable. So basically, I'm just trying to make it so the neighbors can get back, still get out onto Riverbank Terrace, 3A is right down here.
So when it's gonna be one buildable lot, and then the second lot, the 16,000 square feet proposed lot A is gonna be marked undevelopable. When we go to the A&R plan, that will be marked unbuildable, or undevelopable, however they want to mark. Which is proper to zoning it, so you can do that. And then it makes it easier to transfer if the town wants to take possession of the property, or if the neighbor does have the access, or however they want to do it. Maybe the neighbors down the end want to control over their access if it's a private way. Whatever makes the most sense.
All right, if this is approved, it should show on the variance that on this map, on this plan, Liz, the proposed lot A of, it looks to me like it's 15,000 something. I can't, it's small, it's so small, I can't really read it. But shall be non-buildable in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And that says that in the application as well. In our application, we say that it's gonna be undeveloped.
Well, I want it to show in the decision that it's in perpetuity. Okay.
Okay. Anupam,
Yeah, I think we have addressed the issues that have come up, so I have no additional questions.
okay, thank you.
It says in revised design that lot area shall be non-buildable with lot being made conform in all respects to the single family home as per the plan. With all the height
Please do that. Thank you, Dick, good point.
Mike,
No, seems like, you know. Work to figure out a solution to access for the residents rather than. Just force them to drive around, which I guess was his right to do. If he chose to, so. Seems pretty good to me.
up,
It seemed to me, looks like I put a lot of work into it to get it to work, and if it's good for the neighbors, then it's good for me.
okay, I feel the same. It sounds like, in my opinion, a win-win-win. Neighbors, town, and, property owners, so. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? Annabelle? Bob, on the vote to close the public meeting, Dick,
Yep,
Annabelle,
Yes.
Mike.
Yeah.
Bob,
Yes,
chair is yes. Can I get a motion to grant?
Motion to grant.
Mike, can I- Second, Annapom. On the motion to grant, Dick,
go the other way, please.
Bob,
yes,
Mike,
Yes.
Annapom,
Yes.
chair is yes. Dick,
Okay, I'll go with you.
granted 5-0. Thank you.
I think
Thank
that's
you.
part of the sunshine, is so.
Oh, man. Okay, another lot. A public hearing will be heard by the Board of Appeals on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025.
Thank you, John.
At 6:25 PM in Town Hall, room 210, 365 Boston Road, Billerica, Mass. On the petition of John Luz by James Gangoli Junior Esquire, who has appealed to the Board of Appeals for a variance pursuant to section 7 dimensional regulations and 7.l dimensional table of the zoning bylaw to divide the premises into 2 lots in a village residence zone. Said premise is located at 483 Middlesex Turnpike, Billerica, Mass. As shown on the assessor's map at plate 78, parcel 144, and recorded in MNDR of deeds book 5242, page 8. Counselor.
Thank you, good evening, gentlemen, Jim D'Angora for the applicant, John Luz. Mr. Luz is actually at Lake Care Center. He's been there since about September. I have with me this evening his daughter Linda. She's in the back here. What's before the board this evening is a variance request to create 2 lots in a village residential zone. One lot will be 31,096 square feet, more than required in the zoning district. The other is just under 24,000 square feet. What's interesting here is because of the lot size, it is a difficult lot to maintain. The Linda and Mr. Luz wish to split the lot according to the terms of the plan. Both lots will be tied to municipal sewer. Both lots will have access off of Middlesex Turnpike and Middlesex Turnpike only. If you actually take a good close look at the plan, there's actually a strip of land between Thistle Lane and these lots that would actually technically prevent access to Thistle Lane. I've also been by the site with a nice row of giant arborvitaes that provide some privacy. So those remain, no access through Thistle Lane, access through Middlesex only. Mr. Luz, as I indicated, is in Life Care Center, and he is looking to raise some money to defray some of the costs. Right now, he's on Mass Health, and Mass Health is paying about $14,000 a month for his care, which means we're paying $14,000 a month for Mr. Luz. is not only an opportunity to clean up the property, but provide Mr. Luz with some comfort. The other thing this would do, in addition to cleaning up the property, it would provide Mr. Luz a nest egg that would take him off of Mass Health. So until that money is used in its entirety, we wouldn't be paying for his care. So again, the property will be cleaned up, and we're gonna create 2 pretty good sized lots. I have handed out an excerpt from Mass GIS, a look at GIS, and you can see that the lot itself is fairly good size. It's 1.25 acres, and the resulting lots would be consistent with, if not larger than most lots along Middlesex Turnpike. So with that said, Linda and his dad respectfully request that you grant the relief that would permit the split of the lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is anyone here in the audience to talk about this? We'll go left, then back, and then to the right, okay? Again, name and address for the record, and then
Dave Martin, 500 North Section by my wife in the comments.
Awesome. Same house.
Yep.
Tends to be how it works. I'm just concerned because when I read the bylaws, and it's pretty sure you need like 150 feet for access, and it's less than that. And because it's gonna be long and narrow, and I assume that they're gonna put a modern house on it, it's going to take up a big visual percentage, making it look quite full. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. I assume they're gonna do a 60-foot wide house. I assume they're gonna have like 15 feet on the side, which is within the bylaws. I get it, but it just, you know, looking at the lots sort of closer to the lake get smaller. The lots as you drive towards Concord Road, I think it's Concord Road, the other way, they're kind of nice big square 1950 lots that someone built in. So I just don't know how it's gonna look, and I'm worried about, you know, that, and also I wasn't 100% sure. Looks like the square footage may or may not, it looks like it does fit. I didn't do the math right, that's fine. That's not a shock. But that's just our concern as neighbors, that either gonna be 2 very large houses, and they're going to probably be very close together, and how's that going to aesthetically look along the lot, which sounds tricky, but that's what it is.
And like you said, yeah, okay, yes, it's a village zoning, okay. So village zoning has a certain requirement. There are lots adjacent that are very small, but one of the biggest lots in the area is the one that's immediately adjacent to it, to its left when you're looking at it, 487. So is the idea and goal of a village area to keep subdividing these lots to be smaller and smaller? You know, are you going to put a large house on a smaller and smaller lot? You have a large house going on a large lot, that looks fine. If you have, like, if you make the lot smaller, those houses are also very small on those small lots. There are houses that are sold off further down the street where they come in and they put a very tall house and crammed into a small lot. They just, yes, this is your perimeter, and you fit as much onto it as you can. I'm not saying that's what's happening here. It's more the, what is that house going to look like? You know, are you going to have, you know, 2 McMansions sitting next to each other in what is not enough frontage for those houses in that area? I don't like the idea of subdividing, you know, further subdividing, yes, village properties, but you know, the lot is what it is at that point. I'm sorry.
I don't take it personally.
I second.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, this is why we have hearing.
Quick comment on where the house is gonna be.
Yes.
From what I understand. Yeah, that's fine. We've got a wetland pocket here, so the house won't be sitting on the road. It's gonna be set back slightly. So the house, I envision the building envelope would be in this area here. For both lots, so they'd be significantly set back from the road. And of course, whatever's constructed there has to comply with the side yard setback, so. In a village residence. But again, the road frontage is not in compliance with that. Right.
Oh, thank you. Yes, sir. Name and address for the record.
Mark Nicolozzi, I'm on 5 Thistle Lane, I'm going across the street on Thistle Lane. First of all, I'm concerned that if this variance should be accepted, it goes, it is written in that they do not have access to Thistle Lane. They have to go through Middlesex Turnpike. Also, properties on Thistle Lane, all 30,000 square feet or larger, and have the frontage that is required by the bylaws. If you split up this property on the turnpike, you're no longer gonna meet those bylaws. And we don't see where the property, where the buildings are. I mean, he can say where they are, but, until they're written down, he can put them anywhere he wants. So we have those concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Edward, my Thistle Lane. I don't have really an objection, other than I think you answered the question about not paving through the Thistle Lane. The only other question I would have, and I think this gentleman started talking about the height. Is there any other variance on the table that's gonna be changing other than the square footage of the plot? No. Not, you're going with the rest of the table. Absolutely. I'm speaking to the dimensional regulations. Yep, there's no other request other than the one side. Okay, and again, no access to this one. Okay, all right, thank you. And make it a condition. We don't need own any legal.
Yeah, they don't have frontage on Thistle.
Yeah, I don't think we make that clear.
I have bottom, the top, right, and I am for it. I don't think, there's enough lots around in this town right now. I think that mid-sized lots compared to what the neighborhood is behind us. And, we're just not making any more land in the work. So I'm for it.
Thank you. Liz, you got his name and address?
Thistle Lane,
Okay.
I checked. the-
Yep. Anyone else? Okay, I'll open it to the board. I'll give Dick a break. Anupam?
I am aware of the lot. It has been in decay for decades, actually, And it would be a good move to kind of develop, put a couple of homes there, and that's a good opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Mike?
No, it looks, I mean, the lot sizes are, decent. Pretty good sized lot sizes, I know. The lot is in kind of disrepair as I've seen it. It would clean it up nice. I don't really have anything, I'm not 100% sold, but I don't have anything else to add yet.
Bob?
The driveway. Is that driveway coming out? They're each gonna have their own separate driveways?
Both lots will have access to their own frontage.
It's not gonna, this that we see on our plan, it shows them coming in and off of Middlesex, they're turning on to the other one.
Yeah, each lot will have its own house.
That was my concern.
Hey, Dick,
Yo,
questions, comments, concerns?
I think the only thing is, make sure it's got a provision in there, no access, over to Thistle Lane, ever. In perpetuity, whatever sounds good. I don't know what I can't read the frontages on, Middlesex Turnpike. Somebody tell me what they are.
191 and change.
100.
Okay. 31,000 and a 24,000.
That's correct.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Deb. Yeah, the Dick's point about going out to Thistle, I mean, there is no frontage, so.
He doesn't want them to be able to buy frontage either and access it through Thistle.
And make it a condition.
make it a condition.
Okay.
You want it in perpetuity?
Yeah,
Not, I've got nothing to add to what's been discussed, so. I will take. Can I get a motion to close the hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
On the vote to close the hearing, Annabelle?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Dick?
Yep,
Chairs, yes. Can I get a motion to grant
Motion to grant.
Annabelle? Can I get a second?
Second,
On the motion to grant, Annabelle?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Dick?
yep.
And chairs, yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Granted 5-0. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ah,
Exactly.
who's here for the next two hearings? 24 Salem, 358 Boston Road.
Attorney Samuel Reed and Conservative Steve Reed.
Okay, just, yep,
Are going to request either an amendment or a withdrawal to request a rather than two-family, an in-law. We understand the board's given, although we're not sure on 24 Salem if it really is neighborhood residential, as is if there's when but regardless of that, with it would require an in-law apartment, so. If I may,
yes,
Yes.
Mark Rubin, I think we spoke.
yes.
But, could also take into account the ADU bylaw. About the in-law apartments restricted to 800 square feet.
Yes.
But also look at the ADU bylaw, which allows you to build an accessory dwelling, you can apply right up to 900 square feet. But that would be the building permit filing for it.
And I'm sorry, say that again, what's
The new ADU bylaw under 48. Accessory dwelling units, I think it came into effect February 6th of this year. That allows you to accessory dwelling units by right.
all right, and we're gonna withdraw and we'll decide, yeah.
okay, I was gonna say, we wouldn't be able to change it to in-law and hear it, so.
Rather than have a denial and us stay away for 2 years, I'd
Yeah.
like to request denying and both this application and the next.
Okay,
Withdraw it.
so you're gonna withdraw both of them?
Yes.
Okay, we don't have to do anything, right?
I think you just need to get in writing a request for leave to withdraw.
Yeah, so what we can do is we'll just continue them. We'll continue them right now
Okay, then.
to
you
next
withdraw.
month, and you
Okay.
send Liz a letter withdrawing.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
that'll be the legal way to do it.
Okay.
Email acceptable?
Fine.
You can withdraw them now, no?
That's what I got. You won't get it documented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna ask for documentation, so we'll just continue, they'll withdraw it officially, and then we're done.
Tomorrow we can
For
send
the
it.
record, we are officially withdrawing, but I will follow up
Yeah.
with an email till then.
Okay, so but until that happens, we're gonna continue it till next month, and then when you withdraw, it's done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much.
You want to reach out about that.
Let's,
We'll do.
I'll make a motion that we, continue, the 6:35 hearing and the 6:30 hearing to, April 16th meeting.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
Second.
Okay, on the vote to continue both 6:30 and 6:35 hearing, Dick,
Yeah,
Annabelle,
Yes.
Mike?
Yep.
Bob?
Yep.
And Jared, yes. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, board.
What was that all about?
That was the two, that they wanted us to change the zoning on the two properties.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Well, it'd be illegal, but okay, we wouldn't be able to do that, but
Use variance, Dick.
That Florida sunshine is baking your brain.
okay,
What's that?
we got one more, Dick.
All right,
A public hearing will be heard by the Board of Appeals on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, at 6:40 PM in Town Hall, room 210, 365 Boston Road, Billerica, Mass, on the petition of Catherine Allaby, whom has appealed to the Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to section 7.L dimensional table, 7.B.4 lot reductions, 7.B.8 circle test, and section 10.C alteration reconstruction of the zoning bylaw to reconstruct a single-family home located in the village residence zone. Said premise is located at 5 Day Street, Billerica, Mass, as shown on the assessor's map as plate 95, parcel 112, and recorded in MNDR of deeds books 34094, page 93.
Mr. Chair, if I may before you start.
Absolutely.
We know this was in front of the board last month. There was some question on the existing foundation that unfortunately I could not provide the answers to that night. Subsequently looked into it and, everything that permit wise that has transpired with the property has been in conformance with zoning. And above board, I know there was a question about the new foundation and the location of it. That foundation, the existing foundation was terribly out of square, I believe, almost 2 feet out of square. And needed to be replaced, so actually when the new foundation was put in, you're gonna install it square. That's why there's some deviation from what was, and the deviation is an improvement, it's further back from the street, further back from the side. So that's, I believe, Dick, you had questioned that last month. And I think that was, one of the reasons that the special permit was not transferred. But in looking into it and chasing the whole trail and permits on it, my department has no issues with it. They've issued permits, done all the inspections, and as far as I'm concerned, it lies with building codes and permits and zoning. So it's really just a transfer of a special permit.
Okay. I think this will be quick, but, Dick, do you have any questions or concerns about this?
motion to grant.
Okay. Do I get a second?
We gotta close it first. He's just being a smart ass.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna get a motion to close the public hearing.
I'm tired. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the motion to close the hearing, Dick,
Yeah,
Anupam,
Yes.
Mike,
Yep,
Bob,
Yes.
chairs yes. A motion to grant,
motion to grant.
Second.
on the vote to, on the motion to grant, Dick,
yep,
Anupam.
Yes.
Mike,
Yep,
Bob,
Yes.
and chairs yes. You're welcome. Okay, before we close the meeting, we have
minutes.
a minor, no, a minor.
Oh, we're gonna minor modification?
Um,
Oh, no. not
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Want to open it, or it doesn't matter?
Oh, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not a hearing, so I don't.
Yeah.
All right, real quick. What happened there, you folks were kind enough to grant a variance at 86 Lexington Road back in August of last year. We subsequently went to the planning board. And because this is registered land, there's there's a third level of review, and that's with the land court in Boston. So we went to the land court engineer picked through the plans. And came back to us and said they wanted to change the plans in 3 respects. The first change is they want to label the lots 42 and 43. As opposed to, I thought we had lots 1 and 2 on. So that's a very minor change. to your plan. Secondly, down in the bottom corner of the plan where it intersects with Lexington Farms Way, the land court engineer wanted us to make some very minor changes to some of the distances here in this corner. So on the recorded plan that's registered at the registry, it's 8.76 feet from here to here. The land court engineer went through the entire neighborhood and said there was a mistake in the 1949 plan that was registered, and he wanted 8.75, okay? So the other issue is this angle opened slightly. He wanted a slight change to the angle. Bottom line is, one lot is gonna be about 16 square feet larger. The other lot's gonna be about 6 feet larger. My problem is, and the reason I'm here is, your wonderful decision has a plan attached to it. And that's recorded at the registry. So I need the modification so I can attach the approved plan, the modified plan, so we can get that on record as well, just so we're following the instruction of the land court engineers and the planning board. Planning board's already reviewed this and it's already approved. So thank you.
Okay, I believe I can just ask for a vote on the minor modification.
Yeah.
So, Dick, on to approve the minor modification request, are you yay?
Well, I don't know, I got some questions about, course, go ahead.
It's only a quarter of 8.
Thank you, Dick. Around long enough.
Annabelle,
Yes.
Mike,
Yep.
Bob,
Yes.
and Chair is yes, granted 5A.
And, do you need an electronic copy of the plan, Liz, or do you have it?
No, I have one.
Have a good night.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the February 19th meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
All opposed?
mm,
Approved 5-0. And I call this meeting to an end. Thank you, Deb.
Till next month.
Thank you.
I had a funny.
I went to the men's room, she wasn't in there.
I have a funny feeling, I'm talking to you, all okay.
I had a funny feeling she did not want to speak when we start.
I think you did, because I think she wanted to tell us story.
Oh,
we knew her, sorry.
yeah.
I don't need her to hash out her horrible situation.
Nice job, President.
Thank you. Feel bad for it.
Dick wasn't a jerk the last time, she would have got it.
Oh.
All right, you're gonna pay.
We wouldn't have even had to come back here.
You're gonna pay.
Well, Liz?
We are still recording on Zoom, but we're still online, so.
Oh, I didn't say anything bad.
All right, Dick, you all good? We're gonna close it down.
Yeah, how come just my name comes up when I'm speaking?
What else?
That's all you guys did.
Speaking,
Huh?
because you're speaking. You're talking, so that's all you're seeing is the name. We can't figure out how to get you in someplace separate.
Can you see me at all?
No, thank God.
No, just your
Oh.
name, Shana.
Did you put a tie on tonight? Is that why?
Yeah,
A Mai Tai? A Mai Tai?
yeah. A tie with a t-shirt. There you go.
Okay, everybody all set? Can I shut down the Zoom?
Yeah.
Sure. Bye, Dick.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Dick.
Don't think it wasn't nice.
Always a pleasure, Dick. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you 1 second.